Hello, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to another Restream event. As you can see, I'm inside my house tonight, and this is going to be our last live session for a bit. And I'm going to do a little bit of music for you right off the top, and then I've got a really special guest with me tonight. Joe Carere is here, the music director from the Basilica here in Guelph, and we're going to have a nice discussion, so I'm really looking forward to that. That'll be coming up shortly when I introduce him. Just before we get started, we'll just start sort of with a prayer. We had some news today about the reopening of Ontario, if you will, and I think we all have some mixed feelings about certain things, especially related to what's going on with the churches. So join me in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, we ask that you continue to bless all healthcare workers and everybody that's working to keep us safe during this time of COVID. You know, we ask that you continue to bless parishioners of the Basilica of Our Lady and Sacred Heart Rockwood and Newman Center Guelph and anyone else who's watching. We ask that, we really need everybody to come back to the churches. We need everybody to feel the safety of the churches. And, we're reminded about how important it is to evangelize, and evangelization is something that we're going to talk about a little bit tonight. But, let's do that. Let's be there for each other, and let's support each other through this time. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So this first song that I'm going to sing is a song by someone that I really like, and if you've watched my streams, you know that I'm a big fan of Chris Tomlin. And the chorus in this song, which I'm going to put on your screen here, is "You're amazing, faithful, love's open door. When I'm empty, you fill me, you hunger for more of your mercy. Your goodness, Lord, you're the air that I breathe. That's who you are to me." Those words are so true, I think. And, as we know, the lockdown's being extended and the stay-at-home order is extended and we're not going to be able to go back to churches right away, I think, we have to remember that. And so hopefully we're able to do that. Some people think you're distant, just some words on a page. You're nothing more than fables handed down along the way. But I've seen you get the waters when no one else could pull me from the deep. It's who you are to me. Some people think you just live in cathedrals made of stone, but I know you live inside my heart. I know that it's your home. And I've seen you in a sunset, in the eyes of a stranger on the street. It's who you are to me. You're amazing, faithful, love's open door. When I'm empty, you fill me, hunger for more of your mercy, your goodness. Lord, you're the air that I breathe. That's who you are to me. Who you are to me. Sometimes I have my doubts, I'm sure that everybody does. I wonder when I stumble, am I worthy of your love? But I know that I get stronger when I'm talking to you down on my knees. You're everything I need. You're amazing, faithful, love's open door. When I'm empty, you fill me, hunger for more of your mercy, your goodness. Lord, you're the air that I breathe. That's who you are to me. Who you are. Lord, you're the air that I breathe. That's who you are to me. Who you are to me. That's who you are. That's who you are. Who you are to me. Who you are to me. And I teased on social media earlier today that I'd found this brand new song. When I say brand new, I'm talking 5 days old. This song here is 5 days old. And if you know me, you know that I love a person by the name of Phil Wickham. The writing that Phil does, there's just something very special. Every single song that he is part of, every collaboration seems to be very, very true to Christianity. And the words speak very much. And this one really, really spoke to me. And so I'm going to share this with you, and then we're going to get into our discussion with our special guest. You saw me first. You let me in when I was at my worst. The moment when I heard you say my name, it's the first time in so long I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. You are the voice that calms the storm inside me, castle walls that stand around me. Guardian was you. You are the light that shines in every tunnel. There in the past, you'll be there tomorrow. All my life, your love was breaking through. It's always been you. It's always been you. My northern star. Your love will be the compass of my heart. I just want to be right where you are, right where you are. You are the light that shines around me, castle walls that stand around me. All this time my guardian was you. You are the light that shines in every tunnel. There in the past, you'll be there tomorrow. All my life, your love was breaking through. It's always been you. It's always been you. It's always been you. It's always been with me in the fire. It was you. You are the voice that calms the storm inside me, castle walls that stand around me. All this time my guardian was you. You are the light that shines in every tunnel. There in the past, you'll be there tomorrow. All my life, your love was breaking through. It's always been you. 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 Okay, so I just changed back over to my other headset. And I have the pleasure now of welcoming to join me Mr. Joe Carere. Joe is the music director at the Basilica. Joe, nice to have you.
Thank you, Stephen.
I'm really looking forward to our conversation tonight.
Well, it's going to be a good one. We've got lots to talk about.
Absolutely. We had a little chit chat about what we were going to do, and then we had this news come out today, and I think we better start there. So, how are you feeling about today's announcement?
Well, the only thing good about today, I think, is the weather, and so I got my Hawaiian shirt on. I'm getting, because the news today wasn't really all that positive. I don't think for us, anyways. Good for the golf courses, or if you're a skateboarder. But it looks like for us, we're going to be probably at least, another month or so before we get back into in-person worship.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. I know we talked about that we thought it may be faster, and I understand that we have to be cautious, and it's not that neither of us don't believe in the virus. I don't think that's what we're talking about here, right? But I know you could talk a little bit about how safe things have been at the Basilica when it was open.
Well, it's I have to go back to the diocese, which is I believe they put in some great safety plans right from the start. When we opened up back last June, the 23rd, when we were first back in, the diocese right off the hop had really great safety protocols and measures for us. They even sent every church a kit full of cleaning supplies and materials that we could use and build upon. And I have to say, all those months that we were open, we never had one issue, and 30% for us is, almost 300 people. So, and we're moving them through 3 different masses, actually 4 different masses through the weekend, and we never had a problem at all. When we would get really close to being the full 300, we would have the people exit out a different set of doors rather than going out the same door they came in, crossing new people coming in. So we even enhanced it a little further to make it extra safe. And I say we had the good crowds for that reason, is because we made it safe at the church. And I think that was the whole thing throughout the whole diocese. Like you folks were safe. You never had any problems, and I didn't hear of any problems at all within the Diocese of Hamilton with cases or anything like that because of a church gathering. I know there were private weddings for somewhere else in different denominations, but we've done so well as a Catholic congregation, and for the most part, people cooperating. I thought it was a big success, and I think you can echo the same thing with Sacred Heart and the Newman Center.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Sacred Heart, it pales in comparison if we think about the numbers, right? In terms of the numbers that we can hold at Sacred Heart. We have plans to build a new church, but until we have that new church, we definitely don't have 300 at 30%. Our 30% is 8 pews. But no, we never had any problems. Of course, there were cases that happened within the community, and that was a normal part of what we were all experiencing. But, right. The church never had to shut down. We never had to close. Just like you, we were at all the masses, and it was very safe. So, yeah. I mean, part of me was really hoping that this weekend we'd be sort of the first phase of the reopening plans. The government has said, we're going to open outdoor things. I was really hoping that we were going to get a chance to to have in-person worship. I have some friends that are not Catholic, and they say, "Oh, can't you worship online?" And no, Catholics can't worship online. There's something about being Catholic that we need to be in person, and we need to receive the Eucharist. And
That's right. As Father Ian had mentioned, we're a sacramental denomination, which it just doesn't work the same online. And it's a good alternative, I guess, for what we have to do. But I agree with you. I thought at least this weekend or the following weekend we would have been back to maybe 15%,
yeah,
which would have been fine because as I've told Father, I'll sit there and play masses all Sunday morning, even if we have to play extra to get extra people in if we top out at 15%. But big disappointment, and
yeah. And you mentioned the sacraments. I mean, we could touch on that, right? We're going to have. I know we were hoping that we might get confirmations done in Rockwood in June. Well, that's not going to happen, and we know our first communions are being pushed into the fall. So
same with us.
Yeah. So it's going to be a busy fall, that's for sure.
I feel sorry for these kids and their families that have been preparing, and then just when it gets so close, it gets pushed back again. So
Yeah.
I really feel bad for all the kids, not just the kids doing sacraments, but even all the school kids, like what they've gone through since the last March break a year ago. It's not easy for anybody. It's not easy for the teachers, the parents. But yeah, these kids are going to have we're going to have a lot of catch up getting these sacraments through. And I know just dealing, it's almost a full-time job for me at the church with the sacrament of marriage, shuffling all these weddings. Now, as we get a new announcement out, people are phoning and saying, "Oh, we want to move our date further." So now August, September, October, November is getting jam-packed with weddings.
Of course.
And I can understand that as well. But then you top off, then you put in the communions, confessions, confirmations. It's going to be a busy fall.
Yes, and and not to dampen the spirits, but a lot of the health people today were talking about they're trying to negate the fourth wave, right? And
Right.
but they all mention those variants of concerns, and every time I hear that word, it's like, oh, what? Well, hopefully not, right? We're hoping for. I know that I'm hoping that my ministries will be able to restart in September. And do you want to take us a little bit through how you're hoping things are going to go at the Basilica?
That's what I'm eyeing out. And actually, after putting a little more thought into the plan that came out today, if I roadmap it in my head a little bit for my ministry, I can kind of see it moving towards September kind of thing, starting back slowly. Especially most of the people that I deal with, cantors and everything at church, they've all had first vaccinations, including myself. And I know you're on the way to one soon, right?
June 7th is my date, yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that makes a huge difference for everybody, especially 2 weeks after you've had it. There's a degree of protection there. So my whole plan is September, especially with the people that have had the one shot or even two by then, like all of you even had the second shot. We can start to move slowly forward, hopefully, with even a Scola situation, and maybe even having a couple of Scolas broken up, but at least get the people back in singing slowly. Because I got to be honest with you, Stephen, this whole pre-recorded mass thing, as nice as it is, it starts to get depressing when you can't have people in that church. When you're sitting there recording a mass and there's 5 people in there, I'm kind of done with it. I want the people back in there like it was. And so that's why I'm hoping for the fall and then by Christmas, I'm hoping that we're full back, to what we were before. Choir, orchestra, whatever that we had.
Yeah, I know. Unlike the Basilica, we haven't been recording masses, right? We've been doing all of ours in real time and live, and that's been really nice because we can still at least see our parishioners, the ones that are interested in joining in, and we can. I know you interact in your chat when it's when it's premiering, right? But it's really nice to be able to see, what's going on when Father's in the middle of his homily and he cracks a joke and you could see people laughing, and so from that side it's been nice for us. Nice is the wrong word, but it's been a great that we've been able to have that piece, and we've done all of our stuff live. And I have to give a shout out to Father Morley. He's a tech wizard just like I kind of am, and we've worked as a great team to really get everything done. And our office administrator Sophie at the church is just wonderful. And yeah, so the church has done a really great job, and I'm very hopeful for September.
Yeah, I think that's where we have to keep our eye on that prize right now. Is to go for the September kind of reopening. So once again, we get a summer where we can kind of lay back a bit. We've got to make a lot of plans though. Is what's happening. And I see we've got Cindy there, who's thrown in a nice, lovely comment. Now, Cindy is she's one of your big stars there with helping out with your ministry, and
yeah,
I've had the pleasure of having her before sing with us, and great person. So Cindy, if you're there, thanks, kiddo. You're doing great, and Stephen really appreciates everything you do, and we're happy to have her.
Absolutely. No, Cindy was actually part of my live stream for Catholic Education Week, and we talked about the importance of Catholic education, and we talked about she gave this amazing testimony about this student who had watched one of the bishop's homilies on, I think it was Earth Day, in Toronto, and it was so beautiful to see. And it's a bit surprising, right, when you see that level of depth that can come from 11 or 12th grade, and how much they understand the faith in different ways. Yeah. And that sort of brings us into this evangelization piece, and it's so, we were talking about how we're going to have to rebuild, and before the pandemic, I had about 80 people between all my ministries, between the Newman Center and everything that was going on in Rockwood. And we are absolutely going to have to rebuild. Not everybody knows, but we have what we've called a contemporary ministry, which is our 11 o'clock ministry in Rockwood. And that's a full band. And so, we haven't been able to be together. And I can tell you, after 15 months of singing alone, basically, I so desperately want to sing in harmony. I so desperately want to have that texture in the music. I'm missing it so much. And even praise stuff like this, where, having a full band with you, and you get the drums behind, and you feel it in your heart. And, I'm really missing that. So I'm really hopeful that that's going to be coming up in the future.
I know you got quite the group, actually. It's quite involved with the harmonies and everything like that. And I'm not sure if all the people know, but you're actually looking after 2 venues on a Sunday, and running from the church to the gym and back, and you are one busy boy.
Yeah, no, not everyone knows. Our 11 o'clock ministry is too big. The parish has outgrown the church that we're in, and so we rent out the school, which is in Rockwood, and it's wonderful. And we thank the school for the fact that we've been able to do that. But it's not a church. Some people just don't want to worship in a gym. And it costs us money to rent it. And so there is going to be a new church, and it is exciting for sure. But no, I have to leave the 9 o'clock mass. I play the last chord on the organ, and I shut off all the live streams, and I run out the door, and I get over there, and we have a tech room, and I have to take all the stuff out and get it all set up. And we have an incredible relationship with Kathleen, who's the head custodian at the school. She's a parishioner, and she's just so amazing. And we set it up, and literally I used to set up a whole band in 25 minutes and sound check them and make sure everything was good to go. And I could probably count on my hand the number of times we started late. And then on top of that, at 4:30 in the afternoon, we have a mass that actually happens in the crypt at the Basilica for the Newman Center. So yes, the ministry is very busy, and in the summer I do all the stuff at the camp. So it's a busy ministry, and I absolutely love it. So you can imagine how a bit lonely it's been not to have all my people around. And every time we've reopened, there's been little glimmers of hope. I've always brought back, somebody. And here's a funny. Alex is chiming in here. Alex is an amazing person. He's a member of our ministry in Rockwood, but he plays at the Newman Center all the time with me. And I'm totally with you, Alex. I can't wait to return. And I really do hope we end up with no further lockdowns. But no, Alex for a while, when the churches first reopened, he was my guy. He was with me every week for, I don't know, 8 or 9 weeks before we got shut down again. And, then we started to get the idea that, oh, well, what's going to happen here? And, who knows what the future's going to hold. And we started to the numbers were going up and people started to get more nervous about things. And so we pulled back our ministry a bit and it went back to just me. And, it's just, it's been very difficult on music ministries. And I know you mentioned the word Scala. Maybe not everybody knows what that is. Maybe you can fill us in a bit on what that is.
It's a smaller type choir, so maybe 8 to 10 people of maybe 2 voices per section, soprano, alto, tenor, bass. And typically the ones that are really good at reading, that we can throw something together quite quick. I use the Scola at Advent time when we recorded lessons and carols. And back then we were putting that together. There was only like 6 active cases in Guelph at the time. Like how many times have we been so close and then the numbers go the other way? I remember saying to our caretaker last August, it was in the middle of August, and Ontario had reported 33 new cases for the whole province. And I thought, well, we got this licked by September.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. So the Scola, it's good. It works out well because less people, we can distance them out, space them out before we get the full choir back in. So at least having 8 or 10 voices up there singing, because the people have no hymn books, as I'm pretty sure everybody's aware now. So at least we have some sort of singing. Not that the cantor isn't good, but it just to augment that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
So, and I hold on to Alex's word of, let's hope that the wait is worth it. If we have to do that and then we can turn that into a fruitful thing, we always got to try and pull something good out of the bad. So Alex, I'm really with you on that statement. Let's hope that the wait to return will be good. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
I like what Cindy just said here. Amazing. We want to wind chords and clean up. Praise, laugh, worship, and sing. That's what it's all about. And not everybody knows, but you have lots of projects that you do at the Basilica. And I still remember. I don't remember specifically what the project was, but I do remember bringing students from the Newman Center, where I also run the music ministry. And some of them have graduated now. But what a wonderful experience it was for them to, be up in the loft and singing with your, really professional choir, and there were professional musicians there. And I just remember, after that event, how moved some of those students were about being able to experience that. And that's one of my big challenges at the Newman Center, and this year especially has been really difficult. We've had the students are amazing, of course, but we haven't been able to do any of the things that we usually do, like our community dinners, and bringing our communities together. And our UCC is really strong, and they did an amazing job online. My music ministry, at the beginning of the first lockdown, we put together so many videos, and they'd all submitted their parts and they'd done their harmonies, and it was absolutely beautiful. But one of my challenges is trying to expose them as much as I can, So a few months before we did that project with you, there they were, recording a big praise thing that they were doing, and we had rented out a recording studio, and we were having it's that kind of stuff that I'm trying to instill in them, and I'm learning from them about, their faiths. And, these young people at the university are something special. They're willing to witness their faith. It's not easy to be, out there, if you will. And they're willing to do that. They're willing to be public on campus and evangelize. And it's so beautiful to see that. And I mean, I remember the first time I started working at the Newman Center, Father was holding confession, and the students they always go to confession, like daily. And I'd never seen that before. I'd always seen everyone goes to confession at Christmas and Easter. And, I just, Father having confession every Wednesday and line up. It was just amazing to see their faith. And, we've had so much fun, and a big shout out to them if they're watching. I have so many amazing students that I work with at the Newman Center, and we're really hopeful. What Alex said about let's, rock our return.
Yeah.
Yes, let's, that is exactly what it's going to be. And, I have to special shout out to Kanisha. I know she's watching. Kanisha plays at the Basilica sometimes. She comes out to Rockwood. She plays at the Newman Center. She's my assistant music director at the Newman Center. She's just wonderful. And we're actually, we don't have a date yet, but we're working on a drive-in adoration event in Rockwood. And I think we're going to have Kanisha join me. We did that last year for Corpus Christi.
Yeah, you've probably got some more space out there that you can facilitate that, I'm sure, right?
What's nice, yeah, when we did it last year, we could have all the space we needed, and drive-in events were perfectly fine, especially if they were related to the church.
Yeah.
And so I know we're definitely thinking about doing it again for Corpus Christi. We're just trying to pin down the information.
Well, apparently in stage 1 we can have outdoor services.
Well, there you go. And so,
Doesn't quite work for us so well.
No, I follow some parishes online that have built outdoor spaces that they can drive into, and they have an FM transmitter set up and those kind of things. I mean, there's something to that. But obviously, something like that isn't going to work for the Basilica, which is so beautiful.
That's a little tricky.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Stefan here, who's made a nice comment here. About he's happy that we're discussing this, and I don't want to leave anybody out if I can, because we're just glad that you're joining us here tonight.
Absolutely.
And, very humbled by your attendance here, so that's great. Stefan, thanks for that. And I want to make a comment about the Newman Center kids. I've had the chance to observe them a few times when they come in with Father Morley, and I got to tell you, there's two things. First of all, these kids are all in when it comes to their faith and involvement. And another thing, I look at all their faces, and there's not one unhappy face among all those kids. I've been in that church when field trips come through or tours come through, and some of the younger people, and they'd rather be anywhere else than there. But you look at these kids from the Newman Center, and they are all happy, upbeat, happy that they're there, happy that they're with their friends, happy that they're sharing their faith. And you know what? What a refreshing scene to see, at the Basilica. We have the weekend people come in, but to see you guys come in, and you have the Sunday night in the crypt, which is so awesome. I even remember you televised a couple of them, and what an experience! Everybody's involved. They all get involved. They sing, they participate. Refreshing, and that's hard for kids these days, like you say, on campus, because it's like a minority type thing. And a lot of people get made fun of for their faith, but these kids push through, and like I say, they're all in. And I got to give them every credit in the world for supporting the Catholic faith and for being proud to, worship and expose their faith to the world. So good job with all you're doing there.
Hey, I mean, I can only take a little bit of the credit. It's a team for sure. Father's amazing, and he's so busy. And Anya, the campus minister there, is just so wonderful. It's a really great team. And the students, as you said, like they're willing to show their faith, and I've always found that about all of them. It's just, and they amaze me, quite honestly, in terms of how much they show their faith. And it's really nice for me. Like usually pre-pandemic, I would have rehearsals, say, on a Wednesday night at the Newman Center. And it would be great because I would come from my school. And for everyone who doesn't know, I teach music in Toronto with the Toronto Catholic Board. And I teach instrumental strings, but I do tons of vocal stuff as well, grade 6, 7, and 8. And I have hundreds of students that I see a week. And, I talk about the fact that they're just not practicing. And, it's really hard to not have that and then to go to the Newman Center and see them practicing. It makes me a little bit worried about our future. It really does. And if children aren't going through the sacraments, or they're not believing in how important the sacraments are, what do you think is going to happen in our future, Joe?
Well, I'm of the same thing. I think this and it's unfortunate. The kids for the last couple of years are going to have a hard time coming through, and I know for some kids it's even hard just to get online to do regular school. But a lot of things are suffering, like the music instruction. I know some sports things in school, just because it's not the same. I hope that going back in September, can be a rebuilding for them as well. But there's my dog in the background. People are starting to roll home here, so she's all excited. But I hope that September marks a difference for these kids, that they can get back to some sort of normal. And I'm just going to mute this until the person comes through the door. It's my niece coming home, so
No
I'll be back in
problem.
a second.
No problem at all. And isn't that funny, right? When you're at home, it is what it is. Joe and I were talking before the live stream started, and I have 3 kids, and they were down here, and they're going crazy, and he's like, "Oh, it's fine." I'm like, "No, it's not fine. They got they got to go." And so, a big shout out to my wife, who has been, handling all of that while I've been doing these live streams. It's a lot, and it's been amazing to be able to connect with everybody, and to see everybody over the course of this pandemic. I know it's meant a lot to some parishioners, and I'm sorry that we can't keep it going. Maybe there'll be something in the future, but it's something that we're going to be thinking about. And I think as we move sort of towards the end of our discussion here, Joe, I really want to focus on when we're allowed to reopen churches. Churches are safe. People need to come back.
Yeah.
We need them. And
Here's what I'm going to say about this. I have to say that the church is probably safer than any grocery store or Walmart out there. And I don't want to get too picky or too personal here, but if I go out once a week to do the groceries, I'm in and out, and I see people in there, and they start talking to me, and I'm like, well, are you back to church yet? And they're like, oh no, we can't go there, it's not safe. And I'm like, well, but you're out here, like half a foot away from the next person, and where it's just jam packed, and I tell them, church is so safe that every other pew's blocked off, and basically every family has their own pew. So I mean, you're barely even sharing with anybody there. So then they think about it, and they're like, yeah, I guess. So I'm hoping that this not being able to attend church has people not used to not coming.
yeah,
And part of that re-evangelization is we have to push to get the people to come back. But on the other hand, too, I have to say, when we were open with 30% and then ultimately 15%, I noticed a lot of different new faces.
hmm
People that actually wanted to be there were there, and faces that I didn't recognize. So I'm hoping that maybe some people have found God or found religion or found our faith through this lockdown, and they find it as some sort of comfort, because with everything bad going on, to get an hour of some sort of positivity every week, what better place to go than to come to church for an hour of positivity and anything other than just bad news on the TV about numbers and this and that and the other. And so I think you and me and everybody else, we're really going to have to push to rebuild and evangelize not only our ministries but our church congregation as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be go find a friend. Like that person who used to sit beside you, go get them.
Yeah.
Drive to their house,
Yeah.
make them feel welcome. I was saying to you the other day, we've had so many baptisms over the course of the lockdown, and none of these families have really been welcome into the parish because we haven't been able to, and a lot of our families with younger kids haven't felt safe coming back yet, and they haven't been back, even though we're always full. At 30% capacity, we were full. At 15% capacity, of course, we were full. But you got to go get them, and Father and I are kicking around all kinds of ideas, and it's funny because we're dreamers, right? And I'm definitely a dreamer, and he has to rein me in sometimes. But we think of all these cool events that we can do once we're allowed to, where we could bring our community together, and not just our community that we had, but I think you're right. There's going to be this new community, this longing for faith, this
Yeah.
evangelization, and we all have to dig into it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's. I just hope we get some of the people back, that they don't get used to just having been at home, and I hope we can get them. It's like your family. It's like your church family, and we all need to be back together again. We were like full before there was any pandemic. 2 masses on Sunday with 1,000 people at each mass, and then Saturday, with 500 or 600 people, 3,000 families. We like to start seeing a good number of those families out when it's safe, when they feel safe, of course, We don't want to push anybody, but there will be a time, and there will come a time when the community is safe and everybody is safe again, and we can all gather. So it would be so good just to see those churches like it was pre-pandemic,
Yeah.
and get the Newman Center back in. We'll have to do an event again. I can tell you, there's a big event coming up this December,
Okay.
December the 8th, for the Immaculate Conception. It's actually going to be a super. I can't give a whole lot of details yet, but that's what your group was part of the last time we were all together. Was the Immaculate Conception.
Yep.
You had some choir people upstairs, and yourself, and we did the Charles Hubert Hastings Perry. I was glad.
The
That was
Perry,
that was a
yeah.
great mass. That was a great mass.
Yes.
We had a lot of fun, and the kids, I could tell they were just like so super thrilled to be there. So
One of the
well,
funny things about that is I remember you and I were talking, and it was only 2 weeks, I think, to that mass, and you're like, "Oh, bring them up," and I hadn't had any chance to do anything with them, you know. We went through it once, and they all read it, and away they went. So hopefully this time we can put some rehearsals in place, and we'll get together. And no, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I would love to integrate more and have them up there. You know what? It just, I could see the look on their faces too. They were just happy to be there, even if they weren't singing a whole lot, but they felt like they were part of something, and that's the important part. We want
Yeah.
everybody to feel a part of what's going on in the church.
Yeah. I love what Stefan just said here. That mass, that hour in mass feels like recharging the batteries.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What a great idea, right? And I mean that sentiment, if that's how we can have people feeling when they attend church, I mean, why wouldn't you want to attend church, right?
I come out, and I even myself, after being there all Sunday, I come out and I feel better, and then I come home and edit the mass. But I feel better for having been there, even though I'm still working. It's still a great experience just to, it's a quiet part away from this crazy world that we're in right now. Where else can you go to get a little bit of an escape like that? Sit in a beautiful church, whether it's Rockwood or the Basilica or anywhere else, and look at some of these stained glass windows and the sun coming in. Peaceful, there's something to be said for that.
I know the students talk about they talk about how they love going to the basilica just to experience the basilica. Like some of them don't come to mass at 4:30 in the crypt because they go to mass upstairs in the morning, and that's beautiful. I mean, and it's almost like the intertwining of our two communities. Stefan wants to know more. I don't know. Can you tell us more?
I can't really say a whole lot about December the 8th, but it's actually something that's going to be quite historic for the Basilica, and there will be details coming. It's at planning stages right now, and actually I'm hoping that Stephen and I can do more of these in the future. We can do more of these collaborations because it's been a lot of fun. And since our ministries are connected through the church and with the Newman Center, hopefully we'll bring some other special guests in. But I got to tell you, Stefan, you got to stay tuned because it's going to be a barn burner in December. There's a very special thing that's been in the works for 2 years now, and it finally came to fruition, and there's a connection to the Vatican with that. So
wow.
Yeah.
There's big news right there. If I could fill the screen with some kind of cool looking emojis, I would, because that's connection to the Vatican.
It was actually supposed to happen a while ago, but with the pandemic, we put it back because we want to be able to do this when we can have everybody involved. And the church fully open again. So hopefully by December the 8th, the Immaculate Conception, we can have everybody there. But we purposely put it off so we could have everybody there because we don't want to have it and just have it taped or have 15%. We want 100% in there. So
I like what Alex just said here. It's important to intentionally invite people back after getting used to being home. I think that's going to be it. The tendency is going to be to sit down, grab the coffee, and turn the TV on, when in reality you could get in the car and drive 5 or 6 minutes, and go to church. And it's literally going to be that. It's not going to be, oh, churches are open, come back. It's going to be, we want you to come back.
Yes.
We're going to, and I think we're all going to have to do that piece.
Yeah. That's right. And the online masses, we'll still record them because there are, of course, some people that are in the homes that we have attached. But I'm sorry, folks, they're not going to get posted on Sunday morning early. Well, it's going to be like the next day type thing because...
and that's what I think is also important. People don't understand. Well, people understand, but it's been a long time now, 15 months of live streaming masses. We're not going to be live streaming masses from Rockwood when the churches are reopened.
No. No.
To be a Catholic is to be in person and experience the Eucharist. You have so even if that was a thing, which it's not going to be a thing, you are going to come back to Mass. You're not going to be able to watch Masses from home. I can promise that in Rockwood.
And like the title of my channel, Music at the Basilica of Our Lady. It's not Masses at the Basilica, but we're just using it right now for the Masses.
Yeah.
But I primarily started that to feature, some of the musical things and some concerts going on there and the different musical talent that we have come through. That's primarily why I started the channel. So it will still have the Masses on there, not at a timely, it'll be a next day thing, like I say, but we want the people back. It's a sacramental faith, and we want everybody with us in there. So good point.
Yeah, everybody make sure you like and follow the Basilicas page, and like and follow our page in Rockwood. And Joe, thanks so much for this conversation. I think it was great.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, that was great. And thanks to everybody who was watching out there. I know we've had the numbers have been up and down and people jumping in and out. I think it's wonderful. And shoot us a message if there's something specific you'd like us to talk about or see or hear or have discussed. We don't mind. And we can put one of these on sooner than later. I know I'm happy to be a part of it with Stephen. And this has been a great, easy collaboration with your wizardry with the tech there. And let's do it. And people, fire off your questions and comments. Let's get another discussion going with what you'd like to talk about. And we'd be happy to sit here and answer as best we can and open that up. So
I'm just going to play a quick video here, and while the video's playing, you're more than welcome to put any questions or comments you have in the chat. We'll come back and we'll talk about them a little bit, and then we'll wrap up our evening.
Sounds good.
Lord bless you and keep you.
Make his face shine upon you.
Be gracious to you.
The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Dios te guarde y bendiga, que extienda su amor y te muestre favor. Dios te mire con agrado y te dé paz. Upon you, be gracious to you. Lord, turn his face toward you and give you peace. Amen. 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 generations, and your family, and your children, and the children, and the children. May His favor be upon you, and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and the children, and the children.
May His favor be upon you, and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and the children, and the children. May His favor be upon you, and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and the children, and the children. May His presence go before you, and behind you, and beside you, all around you, and within you. He is with you, He is with you in the morning, in the evening, in the coming, and the going, in your weeping and rejoicing. He is for you, 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 He is for you.
Te cura con su gracia hasta 1000 generaciones, tu familia y tus hijos y los hijos de tus hijos.
Wow, that's pretty good, Stephen.
That was one of the first things I did in lockdown. I was missing being together with people, and I joined a Facebook group for worship directors around the world. And next thing I knew, I'd met some people, and we had a collaboration, a lot like you and I, meeting and kicking it off and hitting it off so well together, and we can work together really well.
If people like that from around the world can come together to do that, there's no reason why our own parish families can't get back together to do what we were doing before.
Absolutely.
So let that be an example and a lesson that, we can be far away, but you know what? It's time to come back. It's time to get to work and get back to what we used to do.
Amen. Let's do what we have to do to move through these stages as quickly as we can.
Love it. Yeah.
Stefan said, let's make beautiful music together again soon. I couldn't agree more.
Absolutely. Yep. It's No, I think this has been good, and some people have been curious as to how we think and what our plans are, and you know, I'm looking forward to doing more of this and to keeping people informed and just see where it goes from there.
I agree. I think we'll sign off. I hope you have a great night, Joe, and all the best to you and your ministry.
You as well, Stephen, and thank you again all for joining in. And feel free subscribe to our channels and send those comments in. We're happy to entertain whatever kind of discussions you'd like to have. So God bless everybody, and thank you for joining. Good night.